evening, Canterbury. Welcome to NewsMakers, where we debate the stories that defined the week. It's a pleasure to introduce the panel, the editor of The Press and grieving St Kilda supporter Andrew Holden, the Community Board's youngest gun Jamie Goff, and fresh back from Uncle Sam Land, the Chief Executive of the Canterbury Employers Chamber of Commerce, Peter Townsend. Thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure, Mike.
Smack bang wallop, ACC, oh yes, the big shake-up, and the public backlash has been fast and furious. National seems to be struggling to secure the numbers to even get these changes passed into law. Should this reform package be supported? Andrew?
I think there needs to be clearly a financial rearrangement to pay for the ACC costs. I think the difficulty they've got is selling the changes that they're made, and Peter can speak far better than I can to the impact on business. You'll see a lot of argument. I mean, on a very simplistic level, the one on the mopeds, you know, suddenly bringing them into the same price as a motorcycle, I think seems a little bit ridiculous. They're certainly going to burn an awful lot of political capital on this one.
We will get specific on some areas of concern as we discuss this, but overall, from the general outset, what are your impressions, Peter?
Well, first of all, this government has no appetite for privatising ACC, so in my opinion, any feeling that this is some sort of conspiracy to track towards privatising, I don't think is on the agenda at all. So I think we should get that out of the way. The important thing from my perspective is that we have efficient delivery within the constructs of ACC, and I think that's the first thing that needs to be approached. How we tidy up what is currently going on there, because the perception at least is that there's a lot of loosenesses in there, there's a lot of money being spent in areas that are not necessarily wise for it to be spent in, or not as much being spent there. We need to make sure that ACC is well targeted, and we need to make sure that we've got a cost-effective model in a whole area where costs are escalating beyond our wildest beliefs. But this is going to continue. It's a problem that isn't going to go away. And so what we have to do is we have to minimise the impact of the cost of ACC on all of us, including the business community, because I can tell you there are businesses who simply will not be able to tolerate the sort of increased charges that are being talked about. It will hurt.
Is this inevitable, that we need this reality check to ACC, Jamie?
I think so. I think the concept is absolutely right. It's the balance which is where the issues arise. You have Andrew talking about the mopeds, which I think is an absolute classic example. The big thing at the moment, and will be for a long time, is the clean green image. We want to be encouraging people to reduce their carbon footprint. You have people driving mopeds, not only are you doing that, you're reducing congestion, and then to add an extra $200 on top of that is a little bit loopy in my opinion. I think I'd go a step further and say, you can appreciate the good things that are coming out of it, with criminals not being eligible for it. That's crazy that they even could be if I broke my legs burgling a house in the process, or self-mutilation. Absolutely ridiculous that people would be able to get compensation for that. I then look at tourists. We've got a couple of hotels in Christchurch, and I go in there every now and again, do the family duty thing. More of a Basil Fawlty figure around there, really, I have to admit. But it's amazing how many Aussies I'd talk, and of course it would be Aussies, sorry Andrew, but some of them aren't as on as you there, and they've gone on skiing holidays, and you'd be blown away how many are going around on their crutches because they've broken a leg up on the mountain, and you know who's foot the bill for it? No pun intended. Indeed. You and I, everyone, all the Kiwis have. So I think I'm going away to a family wedding. I'm going to be getting travel health insurance.
Well, I just wonder if, take the tourism analogy as an example, I just wonder if ACC might have to start returning to its original purpose, which was essentially to remove the right to sue. When you look at how many cases actually have no one that could be sued, even if we could. You know, so many cases are either self-injury, self-harm, personal stupidity. Should ACC actually return to its roots?
They spiral out of control, and it has done that. It's this big monster that starts to lose its original purpose, and that's what's happened, and you could give many, many examples of especially government organisations which have turned into this monster.
Do you think ACC does give New Zealanders, and tourists for that matter, a licence to be reckless?
Well, first of all, I think we should continue with the no blame thing. I think that's a really good idea. I think if we go back to litigation and we start suing people who are causing the damage, that just ends up with lawyers having field days and becoming a very expensive and unfair system. So I'm totally supportive of the continuation of the principles of ACC. I think the work has to be done around the edges, and it has to be done with a whole new look at the costs of these things and the affordability of the whole scheme to New Zealand, because at the moment, frankly, we're rapidly running into something that is totally unaffordable.
Rodney Hyde has made it quite clear in the last 24 hours that he is very keen to see ACC subjected to choice and competition. Do you think he may be needling the government to get this on the agenda?
Oh, he may be, and that would be typical of Rodney, but I don't think that would be a wise thing at all. I mean, what this is doing is it's clarifying for people that the ACC, the Accident Compensation Commission, is broadened deliberately over, or not, perhaps not deliberately, but over time it's been extended to cover a whole lot of other things to pick up. I mean, suicide is not an accident. Nobody would consider it to be an accident,
No.
but Parliament's made the decision to bring that within the ambit of the ACC to support the families who are devastated by that. This is effectively bringing up for debate what is the purpose of the ACC, who should it be covering, what safety net does it provide for us? And certainly that whole issue of sporting, the number of cyclists, there's no licence fee for cycling, there's no requirement for them, to contribute to the cost, and that's what the motorcyclists are complaining about. There's a lot of people on a Saturday playing sport, older people who are injuring themselves who are claiming it as ACC.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's unsustainable, and we don't need to go on about this all day, and I'm sure we won't.
No.
But we talk about the sporting side of things, and if I understand that tourism is the #1 industry for Kiwis, it's hugely crucial to our economy. However, if we're going to brand ourselves as an adventure capital of the world, it doesn't really make a lot of sense for us to be footing the bill for people to have a licence to be stupid and for us to pay for their mistakes.
All right, we'll get a break and we'll have a look at a local matter concerning the Arts Festival shortly. Also, the great TV tangle in pursuit of the broadcasting rights for the rugby, and plenty more other issues to come. Do stay with us.